Mitsubishi Eclipse, 10 things you didn't know. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the world of the Mitsubishi Eclipse. This is a car that was everywhere back in the 90s and early 2000s, and yet, despite its popularity, there's a lot people still don't know about this car. I mean, for example, did you know it was originally a joint venture with Chrysler, or that it was named after a racehorse? I didn't think so. So today I'm going to take you on a deep dive into the Mitsubishi Eclipse, and I'm going to tell you 10 things about it that you probably didn't know. So, we're going to kick things off with the Mitsubishi Eclipse's unusual name. Now, when you think of a Mitsubishi Eclipse, you probably think about, well, a car. But it turns out, the car was actually named after a real eclipse. No, not the astronomical event, but a racehorse. This English thoroughbred named Eclipse was virtually unbeatable, winning 18 races and siring hundreds of other winning horses. Mitsubishi hoped some of that speed and winning spirit would rub off on their new car. Alright, so the Mitsubishi Eclipse had a pretty good run. We're talking a solid 22 years of production, from 1989 to 2011. It went through 4 distinct generations, each with its own unique quirks and features. The first generation had your classic late 80s, early 90s design with pop-up headlights. The second generation in 95 got a little more rounded and sleeker. The third generation in 2000 ditched the pop-up headlights for a more aggressive look. Finally, the fourth generation from 2006 to 2011 was a bit of a departure from the previous generations. When you picture a Mitsubishi Eclipse, you're probably picturing the coupe, right? That was the most popular body style. But the Eclipse also came in a convertible version. It wasn't quite as sporty looking as the coupe, but it was still a fun car to drive. And let's be honest, there's just something undeniably cool about a convertible. A match made in Illinois, the Mitsubishi Eclipse actually has some American DNA in it. Back in the 1980s, Mitsubishi and Chrysler formed a joint venture called Diamond Star Motors. They built a factory in Normal, Illinois, specifically for this purpose. And guess what one of the first cars they churned out of that factory was? You got it, the Mitsubishi Eclipse. The Eclipse wasn't the only car Diamond Star Motors produced. They also made the Plymouth Laser and the Eagle Talon, which were basically just rebadged versions of the Eclipse. So the Eclipse has a bit of American heritage in its bloodline. Fast and Furious fame. Let's talk movies for a second, specifically the Fast and the Furious. Remember that movie? It was a global phenomenon and launched 1,000 tuner car builds. And right there in the heart of all that high-octane action was a Mitsubishi Eclipse. This was Brian O'Connor's ride in the first film, a green Eclipse. It was heavily modified with a huge spoiler, a nitrous oxide system, and enough underglow to illuminate a small city. That car perfectly captured the spirit of the early 2000s tuner scene. It became an icon in its own right. Turbocharged powerhouse. The Mitsubishi Eclipse had some pretty potent power plants, especially the GSX or GST models. These came with a turbocharged 2.0-liter 4-cylinder engine. In the second generation, it had 210 horsepower and up to 227 horsepower in the third generation. That was serious stuff back in the 90s. It was enough to rocket the Eclipse from 0 to 60 in under 7 seconds. And that turbocharger whine was like music to a car enthusiast's ears. A tuner's dream. The Mitsubishi Eclipse was a huge hit with the tuning community. This car was practically made for modifications. It was affordable, readily available, and had a ton of potential. You could swap out the engine, upgrade the suspension, slap on a body kit. The possibilities were endless. Even amateur mechanics could tinker with them and get impressive results. That's part of what made the Eclipse so special. The Mitsubishi Eclipse had some secret identities. In North America, you could get an Eagle Talon. The Talon was essentially identical to the Eclipse, mechanically speaking. It had the same engines, the same transmissions, the whole shebang. And then there was the Plymouth Laser, another rebadged Eclipse sold by Chrysler's now-defunct Plymouth brand. Again, it was practically the same car underneath, just with a few cosmetic tweaks. For most of its life, the Mitsubishi Eclipse was powered by a 4-cylinder engine. But in its fourth and final generation, the Eclipse got a serious power upgrade with a V6 engine. This 3.8-liter V6 cranked out 265 horsepower. It was plenty quick, propelling the Eclipse from 0 to 60 in around 6 seconds. Sadly, the Mitsubishi Eclipse rode off into the sunset back in 2011. But even though it's no longer in production, the Eclipse has left a lasting legacy. It's still a beloved car among enthusiasts and has become a bit of a cult classic. You still see them on the roads today, and they always turn heads. So, there you have it. 10 amazing facts about the Mitsubishi Eclipse that you probably didn't know. It's a car with a rich history, a passionate fan base, and a whole lot of personality. What was your favorite fact? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more car content just like it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.